Hi guys, and welcome to FrostysBushcraft. I'm Frost, your host, and today we are reviewing this titanium and Magnacut beast. It looks like a great knife, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, so let's talk about it. First, I'll give you the sales pitch on the knife. I'll talk about specs real quick. I'll show you the knife in detail, and then we're gonna test it out, see how it performs, talk about some options when buying the knife, and then we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So stay tuned, it's gonna be a fun one. Okay, so first things first, this knife is made by a company called UG-Tools. They are from Germany and they started producing knives around 3 years ago. The model I have with me is the UniTi model with a survival blade. Now with UG-Tools, usually you have a couple of different handle options or handle pattern options, and also a couple of different blade options, and that means different blade steels and different blade shapes. Now this is the survival blade in Magnacut, hardened at 63 RC. And a disclaimer, this is the first one ever made, this is the production prototype, and I got it for testing. So if you're someone that already ordered their survival blade in Magnacut, you'll be getting it shortly. I just got it for testing. I already used this knife a couple of times and I have a pretty good idea of how it performs, but today we're going to do it in video so you guys can also check it out. Finally, the specs, and I have to read this out because I'm forgetting all the numbers. Now, the total weight of the knife is 192 grams. The handle alone is 80 grams and it's made from pure laser bonded titanium. The blade is 15.5 centimeters in length and it's made from Magnacut steel with 4 millimeter thickness. So the total length of the knife is 27 centimeters and the end cap material is titanium. And now you're probably wondering, end cap, what's that? Well, is this. Since the handle is 3D printed titanium, the handle is hollow, so it has a cap in the end and you can put stuff inside the handle, and also you can mount stuff on the cap itself, and I'm gonna show you this in a sec. So this is the end cap, and when you unscrew it there's a really big hollow empty handle and you can put stuff inside. Now I have some fire lighting material in mine. This is just some waxed cordage, and I also have a fire steel mounted on my end cap. Now when you're buying this knife you can also opt for a sharpener, and I'll talk about the sharpener for a second. Just let me grab the stuff that fell down and put the knife away. So the sharpener, this thing is called the Metamorph sharpener and it's made with ruby. Now you might be asking yourself, why ruby and why not diamond? The thing is, diamond gets electroplated to a piece of metal while ruby gets sintered, and that means that diamond is usually really aggressive at start and then it becomes finer, while a ruby doesn't have that problem. Also, diamond wears off in time and ruby never wears off. And also diamond gets gummed up, but ruby doesn't because it's more densely packed. So yeah, diamond is harder and it cuts faster, but ruby is still 3 times as hard as the hardest steel, so plenty hard. And this is how it looks mounted on the end cap without the protective shroud, so you can just carry it like this and unscrew it and immediately use it. Okay, so it's finally time to find a place to settle and start testing the knife. I'll cut some branches, I'll make fire, I'll make a bushcraft chair so I can sit down and relax, and then we'll talk a bit more about this knife. We are in this beautiful evergreen forest. There is an opening behind me and this place is perfect, so we're gonna stay here. This is that standing and we're gonna cut it down. Now there's a little trick I use when handling knives like this, and this is a leather lanyard, and I use it by simply putting my finger inside of it and grabbing a knife at the end of the handle. That way I basically have a bigger knife and more leverage. So here goes nothing. This took me around 2 minutes to cut. Now I could have done it a lot faster using a folding saw, or I could have used a bigger knife, but today we are testing the UniTi with a survival blade. And this knife is, I'd say, medium sized, so it's kind of a jack of all trades knife. Now you know the saying jack of all trades is master of none, but the whole saying goes jack of all trades is master of none, but still always better than master of one. So it's better to have a knife that is moderately good at everything than a knife that excels in one thing and it's really bad at everything else, I think. Being able to just sit down and relax is so good, but I know you're here for a knife review and not forest philosophy, so a couple of things so far. The end cap doesn't come loose, but my fire still gets a bit wobbly after a while. Now I'm not sure if you can hear that, but yeah, it becomes loose after a while. Now the fire steel I have is not an original UG-Tools fire steel. This is just something I had in my drawer and I mounted it on the end cap. And the second thing, and this is huge, is the handle shape. The handle shape on this thing is great. It's a really comfortable handle. It's large, it's thick, it's, I want to say, traditionally designed, but that sounds really strange when you're holding a Magnacut and titanium knife, but the design of the handle is yeah, it's traditional. So really comfy handle, good for push cut, draw cut, reverse cut. And one thing that really surprised me, it doesn't have any vibration to it. I'm not sure if that's because the handle is hollow or its design, but yeah, it's a really comfy handle. And now it's fire making time. I know there's gonna be people saying that I'm a phony because I will use a folding saw to cut some of the firewood, but I don't really feel like spending another hour and a half just to prepare some firewood for making a cup of tea and a short meal. So I will use a saw to cut wood, and then I will use this knife to process it. So batoning, feather sticking, fire lighting, and so on. I'm gonna use the knife. So in my last video, guys from UG-Tools were making fun of me for not using a proper baton. So this time I'm making a proper baton, and this one's for you, Philip. We've got a baton. Now let's use it. Whew. Whew. I hope you can see that I'm not holding back. I'm really whacking this thing, and so far so good. I batoned a bunch, and yeah, this thing's working like a champ. Now it's a 4mm blade, so a thicker blade would probably, well, definitely be a bit better for batoning, but a thicker blade is heavier, not so good at cutting, so, you know, jack of all trades. Before I continue to feather sticking, there's one thing I want to point out, and that's why I'm using softwood to test knives. Now, softwood has a bunch of knots inside. These knots are really hard, and they apply a tremendous amount of force to the blade in all sorts of different directions. So if a blade is going to fail, it will probably be on a knot in a softwood. And all the knives I've broken so far, and I've broken a few in my lifetime, all of them were broken on things like this. So that's the reason I'm using softwood to test knives. This thing feather sticks like a champ. The curls are really thin, really fine and easy to make. But disclaimer, most of my knives, this one included, are hand sharpened by me, and I use the same technique on all of my knives, and that is I sharpen them to a 40-degree convex secondary. That way all of my knives have the exact same edge geometry, and that makes it easier to compare them. Also, by hand sharpening, I know I've gotten to hard steel and I've got a good durable edge, because many manufacturers, most manufacturers, sharpen their knives either or on belt grinders or other powered tools, and sometimes, many times, the edge gets a bit soft because there's heat involved. So if you want a long-lasting and durable edge, hand sharpen your knives. Time to start my fire, and if only I could remember where I put my fire steel. All right, it's in the knife. That's so cool. Ta-da! Ta-da! Okay, so we chopped, we betoned, we cut, we feather sticked, and we made a fire. Now, I just had my lunch a few minutes ago. I'm not going to bore you with details of me eating, because that's not the point of this video. This video is about this knife, and so far I'm really enjoying using it. Now, the knife itself is great, the handle is great, it's comfy, the blade is nice, it's big, it's adequately thick, which means it's not a sharpened pry bar, it's actually a knife that actually cuts. And now we are going to address the one thing I don't think it's on the same level as the knife itself, and that is the sheath. Now, don't get me wrong, the sheath itself is a quality sheath. It holds the knife really secure. There is no wiggle. It's got ulti-clip, ulti-link system, so you can mount it really quickly everywhere, anywhere. But it's lacking in a couple of details, and I'm going to address them. First thing I don't like about this sheet is this channel right here. I know they had to make this channel because the blade is wider at this part than at this part, and it's made so the knife can actually go into the sheet, but sometimes it catches on the handle itself. See? And now you have to push it a bit down, and then it goes inside. The next problem with the sheet is the retention screw. Now, the screw itself works great, and you can adjust the tension of how hard it is to pull the knife out of the sheet. The problem is, in order to avoid the blade catching on this metal screw, they made a plastic wall behind it. And of course, I cut that off unintentionally, but it happened and it shouldn't happen. So I actually called the guys from UG-Tools, told them about these problems, and they assured me they will fix them. They will probably fix them either the way I did it, and that is by making a plastic washer that is going over the screw. Not sure if you can see it. maybe this way, and or by moving this whole adjustment thing a bit further from the blade. And the way they will probably address this issue, and it may not be an issue to you, but I'm a bit OCD-ish and I like things performing perfectly, is by making this sheet like this sheet. This is their tiny model, and as you can see, this is shaped going backwards instead of going forward, and that way it couldn't catch on this ridge right here, and you could insert the blade without a problem. And also the new sheet on the UniTi will probably have a thumb ramp like on the Tiny. So you're welcome, you're free to buy me a beer if you do get the upgraded sheet. Final verdict on the UG-Tools UniTi with a survival blade is great knife, okay sheet. If and when they update the sheet design, this is going to be an amazing knife combo. Now, it's a premium product, so it's priced accordingly, and I'm not even going to discuss its price, because if Mora can sell recycled steel and boring ash wood for 240 euros, this is cheap. So I want to thank you for watching this video. I know it's a bit different than the usual reviews you see on YouTube, but I approach filming my reviews like I approach filming my bushcraft and outdoor stuff. So yeah, it's a bit different, but I hope you like it. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time, and stay frosty, my friends. Bye bye.